My family told me to take a break after Dad died, then sold the house behind my back. Hey Reddit, this is a long one, and I'm still shaking while typing this. I, 29M, just found out my entire family orchestrated a betrayal so cold-blooded, so methodical. I genuinely feel like I've been living in a psychological thriller. If this blows up, I'll post updates because I swear, it gets worse. Let me back up. Coffin, it all started with my dad's death. My dad passed away 6 months ago from a sudden heart attack. He was 63, healthy, still ran 5 miles every weekend. No history of heart problems. His death hit me like a freight train. We were close. He was the only one in my family who really understood me. I'm the only child from his first marriage. My parents divorced when I was 12, and I stayed mostly with Dad. He remarried when I was 15 to my stepmom, Julia, now 51F, and gained 2 step-siblings. Natalie, now 30F, and Trevor, 33M. Dad and I still stayed close even after his new marriage. Every birthday, every game, every graduation, he was there. Even paid my way through college, no loans. When he died, I was wrecked. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. So when Julia told me, "You need time. Go stay at your girlfriend's. Grieve. We'll take care of things." Believed her. That was my first mistake. The family house wasn't just a house. Dad's house wasn't just real estate. It was our home. Built it from scratch with his bare hands when he was 28. Every inch had a memory. The dent in the hallway from when I rode my tricycle too fast. The treehouse we built when I was 9. Even the damn wine stain on the carpet from Dad's 50th birthday party. And here's the thing, he owned it outright. Paid off. No mortgage. Worth about $890,000 in today's market. Southern California. Suburb outside San Diego. He had always said, "If anything ever happens to me, that house is yours." So imagine my confusion when I came back 2 months after the funeral, and it was empty, like completely gone. The house was sold. Gone. Just like that. "We thought you knew." I thought it was a prank. I called Julia in a panic. She calmly said, "We sold the house. It was too painful to keep. We assumed you didn't want it." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I hung up. Then I went to the county records office. And there it was. Deed transfer. All 3 names on it. Julia, Trevor, and Natalie. Not mine. Receipt. The will was updated 3 weeks before his death. I requested a copy of the will. And guess what? The original will, written 5 years ago, left the entire house to me. A small trust fund for Julia and the kids. The note about not letting the house fall outside the bloodline. But that will, it was replaced by a new one, dated 3 weeks before his death. The new version? A house split between Julia, Trevor, and Natalie. I was left a $5,000 check for closure. $5,000. My gut says something is wrong. Here's what's weird. Dad never told me he updated the will. He always told me I'd get the house. Julia won't let me see his medical records from the day of the heart attack. Trevor suddenly paid off his truck loan and bought a new boat. Natalie just got engaged and is planning a destination wedding in Greece. Face with monocle. I'm starting to think Dad didn't change the will. I think they forged it. I've lawyered up. I hired a probate attorney. He's looking into the handwriting of the new will. The notary who signed it, who, get this, died 2 weeks after Dad did. Sketchy? Yup. Getting a court order for Dad's toxicology report, which Julia is stonewalling. Apparently, if I can prove undue influence, fraud, or forgery, I can challenge the will. But here's the worst part. Julia's already threatening me. When she found out I lawyered up, she texted me, "Don't drag this out. Your father wouldn't want you fighting your family. Just take the money and move on." No, Julia. He wouldn't want to be betrayed by the people he trusted most. Update 1. I found a hidden safe in my dad's study, and what was inside proves he knew they were after him. Hi again, Reddit. Thank you for the overwhelming support, DMs, legal advice, and even the trolls. Your energy is entertaining. I wasn't planning on posting again so soon, But something happened last night that left me in shivers. And it's about to blow this entire situation wide open. Brain quick recap. Dad died suddenly of a heart attack. A stepmom Julia and step-siblings Trevor and Natalie sold the house behind my back. The new will shows them inheriting everything. I get $5,000 for closure. Original will left me the house and most of his estate. I suspect forgery and undue influence. Hired a probate attorney. Julia threatened me for lawyering up. Now here's what happened next. House I went back to the house. Illegally, maybe? Okay, I'll admit I broke in. Don't come at me with legality lectures. I had to know if there was something Dad left behind. A clue. A note. Something. The house was already in escrow, but I still had the back gate key from when I used to dog sit. Slipped in after midnight. Flashlight. Gloves. Hoodie. Felt like a damn burglar in my own childhood home. I went straight to his study, and I just stood there. So many memories. He used to drink his scotch here, scribble on yellow notepads, play jazz on vinyl while ranting about politics. And then, as I was running my hand along the underside of his desk drawer, click, locked with key a hidden safe and a letter. It was a small, mounted safe, behind a false wood panel beneath the bottom drawer. I had no idea it was there. I didn't have the code, but I remembered, Dad used to joke, if I ever die, just punch in Miles's birthday. It's foolproof. I punched in my birthday. It opened. Inside were a sealed manila envelope, a USB stick, a small velvet pouch. Scroll the letter. The envelope had one thing inside. A letter, dated February 7th, 4 days before his death. Here's what it said. I'm typing it word for word except redacted names for privacy. Miles, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And something tells me it wasn't natural. Julia's been acting strange. Talking in whispers with Trevor. Locking her phone. I overheard a call last week. Something about changing plans and finalizing paperwork. If they produce a new will, don't believe it. Mine is in the bank, you know where. Fight this. You're my only true son. The house, the estate, the legacy, it's yours. Trust your gut. Love you always, Dad. I broke down. Reading that, it felt like he knew. Knew they were plotting something. And he tried to protect me, even from the grave. Computer disk, the USB stick. Contained scans of his original will. A audio memos labeled Estate Notes, Confidential. A voice recording of him saying, I am of sound mind and this is my will. Anything else presented after this date is either coerced or fake. Timestamp, February 2nd, 9:43 p.m. That alone might not be airtight in court, but it's powerful supporting evidence. Ring the velvet pouch. It had his wedding ring, but not the one Julia gave him. It was the gold ring from his first marriage to my mom. The one he said he kept for closure. He left that for me. Firecracker, what's next? I sent everything to my lawyer. We're filing an emergency injunction to freeze the estate and property sales. Submitting the letter and audio as evidence. Requesting surveillance footage from the hospital on the night of his death. My lawyer suspects foul play may be provable. I know it sounds dramatic, but I think this was planned. I think Dad was getting in the way, and they wanted him out of the picture. And the worst part? I think they may have rushed his death. Not murdered, maybe, but definitely helped push it along. Update 2. Julia showed up at my girlfriend's apartment, with a lawyer, a cease and desist, and a thinly veiled threat. Hey Reddit, thanks again for sticking with me on this train wreck of a story. I honestly didn't expect so many of you to care, but the outpouring of support, legal suggestions, and personal messages from people who've been through similar hell, it's given me strength. Now strap in because Julia is officially losing it, and the war just left the shadows. Bellhop bell, the knock on the door. It was Thursday night, around 8 p.m. My girlfriend, let's call her Riley, and I were binge-watching The Bear when there was a knock on her apartment door. Riley checks the peephole and says, Miles, it's your stepmom. I freeze. She's not alone. I open the door and see Julia, standing there in full-on corporate armor. Pantsuit, pearl earrings, red lipstick wore paint. Next to her, a man in a cheap suit holding a manila folder. Turns out he's her new lawyer. I didn't let them in. She gave a smile that didn't reach her eyes and said, "This won't take long." I stepped outside, shut the door behind me, and we stood in the hallway under the flickering stairwell light like we were in a bad Netflix thriller. Receipt, the cease and desist. The lawyer hands me a folder. Inside, a cease and desist letter. They're claiming I'm spreading slanderous accusations about Julia, Trevor, and Natalie, that I'm unlawfully tampering with private property, i.e., me sneaking into my own childhood home, and that if I continue interfering with estate proceedings, they will pursue damages and civil penalties. I nearly laughed, until Julia said, "You really think your father left you everything? Come on, Miles. He changed. You didn't see it. He said you were ungrateful, distant. He wanted a real family." And then she dropped this. "You don't want this to go public, do you? Imagine what people will think when they find out you're accusing your own grieving family of forgery and murder. She's threatening to ruin me in the press if I keep digging. Brain, but here's the thing. I expected this. My lawyer told me this might happen. It's textbook intimidation. But I didn't expect her to do it at my girlfriend's apartment. That's a line-crossing move. And she made another mistake. She talked too much. When she said, he wanted a real family, I asked her, funny, because he wrote in a letter 4 days before his death that he didn't trust you or your kids. She blinked. Tight smile cracked. Added, and the notary who signed your new will died mysteriously 2 weeks later. What a coincidence, huh? That shut her up. Fire the letter they didn't expect. As they left, I said, tell Trevor and Natalie they should enjoy their boat and their wedding while they can. This house of cards is coming down. Julia's lawyer didn't look so confident anymore. They left. Riley was shaken. I was buzzing, not from fear, but adrenaline. Man, balance scale what my lawyer is doing now. The original will Dad referenced in his letter? We found it. It was in a safe deposit box at Wells Fargo, under his name and mine jointly. Inside, the official, notarized, 5 years old will leaving me 100% of the house and 70% of his estate. A voice memo recorded at the bank from the day he deposited it. This is the only legal will. Any others are to be considered invalid. We now have the original legally binding will, a suspiciously timed updated will, a letter from Dad expressing fear of Julia and Trevor, a voice memos, Julia's threatening visit, and we're about to subpoena the hospital records and toxicology reports. One more thing. An anonymous tip. This is where it gets really weird. I got a call from a blocked number this morning. Male voice. Nervous. All he said was, check who signed your dad's death certificate, and look up their relationship to Julia. Then he hung up. I traced the number. Burner phone. Dead end. But guess what? My dad's death certificate? Signed by Dr. Caleb Marcus, who is, wait for it, Julia's cousin. I swear I felt the world tilt. Update 3. My lawyer confronted Trevor and Natalie, and someone slipped up big time. Hey again, Reddit. This saga has gotten way beyond just family betrayal. It's looking more and more like an orchestrated, malicious conspiracy, and people are finally starting to crack. As promised, here's the update you've been waiting for. My lawyer went toe-to-toe with Trevor and Natalie, and let's just say, things got messy. Balance scale the confrontation, friendly mediation. Instead of waiting for the court date, my lawyer, let's call him Mark, arranged a mediation session. Essentially a calm before the storm. It wasn't official court-mandated mediation, but more of a legal pre-fight meeting. Mark wanted to see where they stood, and possibly get them to incriminate themselves before we even hit the courtroom. The meeting happened at Mark's firm. Julia didn't come, which was probably strategic. Instead, she sent Trevor and Natalie, her beloved co-conspirators. I wasn't allowed to speak, just observe. And oh boy, what a show. Briefcase Mark played it like a pro. He started friendly, said he understood they were grieving, that it's a shame the family is being torn apart by confusion over the will, and that we just want clarity. Then he laid out everything we had. The original notarized will, dated, signed, and recorded. The hidden letter from Dad. The USB audio recordings. A statement from the bank employee who remembered Dad dropping off the will. And finally, the voice memo of Dad saying any new will should be considered invalid. You should have seen Trevor's face. It was like someone pulled his soul out through his ears. Natalie? She turned ghost white. Then Mark dropped the bomb. We're also looking into the connection between the physician who signed the death certificate and Mrs. Julia. It appears he's a blood relative. He let that hang in the air. Collision. Natalie snapped. That's when it happened. Natalie suddenly blurted out. We didn't forge anything. The lawyer came to the house. Dad called the meeting. Mark, that's interesting. Because the lawyer who notarized that will died 2 weeks after your father, and we've already confirmed he wasn't practicing in the month before due to medical leave. So, who exactly came to the house? She clammed up. Eyes darted to Trevor. She knew she messed up. Neutral face. Trevor stayed silent, but his face said everything. Trevor didn't speak the whole time, except for one sentence at the end. When Mark said we'd be filing to freeze all assets and initiate an official forgery investigation, he leaned back and said, Fine. Burn the whole family down. That's it. No denial. No outrage. Just cold surrender. Beverage box. After the meeting, Natalie tried to contact me. That same night, I got a DM request on Instagram. From Natalie. Message. Miles, please. Let's talk. Just us. I didn't want any of this. I was scared. Scared of what? Of who? My girlfriend thinks she's about to crack and turn on Julia and Trevor. My lawyer agrees, and he's planning to push even harder now. Open file folder. Meanwhile, the hospital records are missing. We hit a snag. We requested a copy of my father's hospital admission records and toxicology for the night of his heart attack. After stalling us for over a week, we finally received an email from the hospital legal team. Records for the patient on the date in question appear to have been deleted or were never uploaded into the system. Deleted. These are electronic records. Deleted from multiple backups? Come on. My lawyer believes there may be a cover-up, potentially involving someone inside the hospital. And guess who was working that night as the on-duty attending nurse? Julia's cousin's wife. You can't make this up. Locked. What's next? We've submitted a formal request to retrieve archived backup logs from the hospital's IT systems, filing an emergency injunction to freeze all estate transactions and void the contested will. And Natalie is being sent a letter through her own lawyer offering limited immunity if she cooperates and provides testimony about what happened. Trevor? We're watching. My lawyer thinks he might try to flee or sell assets. And one more thing. Firecracker. Julia doesn't know we bugged the safe. Remember the hidden safe I found? Before I removed everything, I left a tiny wireless camera inside. Guess what? Julia came back to the house 2 nights ago. At 2:14 a.m., she opened the drawer, went straight for the safe, and stared at it. Empty. Then she whispered, Damn it, Miles. So yeah, we have video proof she knew about the safe and was checking if we found it. Game on. Update 4. Natalie flipped, and what she revealed about my dad's death changed everything. Hey Reddit, I can barely type right now. My hands are shaking. My chest feels tight. Everything I thought I knew about my father's death, the lies, the will, the betrayal, it all just got a name. And that name is Julia. Warning, Natalie came clean. Last night, around 11:30 p.m., I got a call from a restricted number. I usually don't pick those up, but something told me to answer. It was Natalie. She was crying. Miles, I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. I'll tell you everything. I put her on speaker, hit record, and just listened. And she confessed. Puzzle piece what she told me, the full breakdown. Julia knew your dad had a heart condition. She made sure he stopped taking his medication. She switched his pills, said it was temporary, that she'd take care of him naturally. He trusted her. Trevor and I didn't know at first, but later we figured it out. She called it letting nature finish the job. She called the new will a contingency plan. Said if your dad passed, everything would be clean. Yours was too old and messy. We signed it in front of a notary Julia paid off. She said it was legal because your dad wasn't in his right mind anymore. But he was. I know he was. She told us, don't worry. Miles is too soft to fight. When your dad collapsed that night, Julia waited 15 minutes before calling 911. She said, let it happen. Let it finish. I swear to God, Miles, I didn't want any of it. But I stayed quiet. Pouting face, my world crashed again. 15 minutes. She let him die on the floor. Alone. Struggling. While she watched. I had to leave the room. I threw up in my bathroom. Then I came back and listened to the recording again just to be sure I wasn't imagining it. Natalie knew. Trevor knew. And my father trusted them. Scroll the smoking gun, Natalie's statement. This morning, we met with my lawyer and had Natalie sign an affidavit and provide a formal recorded deposition under oath. She's turning state's witness if this goes criminal. And believe me, it's going criminal. She gave us names of the notary Julia bribed. Timeline of when Julia switched dad's meds. A text messages between her and Julia about cleaning up after the incident. A burner email Julia used to send the forged will to Trevor. Syringe the pills, forensics came through. Remember when I mentioned that we were trying to subpoena toxicology and hospital backups? Well, we also retrieved a bottle of Dad's heart medication from his travel bag in storage. My lawyer handed it off to a private lab. Result? Not his prescribed meds. The bottle was filled with beta blockers and aspirin, and half the pills were sugar capsules. It was a setup. Oncoming police car, what's next? My lawyer is preparing to file charges for medical negligence, criminal conspiracy, and possible involuntary manslaughter. We've submitted Natalie's affidavit to the district attorney. The estate is officially frozen by court order. The forged will is under full forensic examination, and the notary Julia used? Turns out he had a gambling debt Julia helped clear. You do the math. Ice Cube Trevor? Radio silent. Sources say he's trying to sell Julia's BMW under the table and liquidate their crypto wallet. He's scared. He should be. Envelope one final thing. I found a voicemail from my dad from 2 weeks before he died. Buried in my old inbox. I'd forgotten it was there. Hey kiddo, I hope you know how proud I am of you. I've been thinking a lot about legacy lately. About what we leave behind. You're mine. I love you. Never forget that. I listened to it 5 times. Then 10. Then 20. I'm not letting him down. Update 5. Julia's been arrested, and Trevor turned on her to save himself. Hey Reddit, I never thought this day would come. After months of gaslighting, betrayal, and fighting like hell for the truth, Julia is in custody, and her golden boy Trevor just threw her to the wolves. This update has everything. An arrest, a breakdown, courtroom chaos, and a final, brutal twist that left me speechless. Let's go. Oncoming police car, the arrest, it happened fast. The district attorney moved fast after Natalie's signed statement, and the forensic lab results confirmed tampering with Dad's meds. At 6:12 a.m. Tuesday morning, Julia was arrested at her home in Westwood. She was charged with a forgery of a legal document, criminal conspiracy to defraud, a negligent homicide, tampering with evidence, unlawful influence over a vulnerable adult. The last one, that's because my dad was recovering from a mild stroke when she updated the will, a fact she conveniently omitted in every legal document. Cops showed up at her house. Neighbors watched her get cuffed on the front porch in a bathrobe and slippers. Someone got it on video. It's already circulating around the neighborhood group chat like wildfire. Bomb Trevor's flip, the ultimate betrayal. Later that same day, Trevor showed up with his lawyer at the DA's office. Apparently, he cracked the second he heard Julia was going down. He negotiated a plea deal, testify against Julia in exchange for immunity and reduced charges. And then he gave the DA a voice memos Julia recorded rehearsing what to say in court. Or a bank transfer showing $15,000 sent to the shady notary 2 days before Dad's death. An actual draft of the fake will on Julia's laptop with her handwritten edits. And Most damning of all, a video of Julia mixing Dad's pills and saying, "If he goes peacefully, everyone wins." Yes, that exists. He had it saved in a hidden drive. He said he kept it, just in case she turned on him. Trevor played the long game. Julia raised him like her own son, and he sold her out to save himself. Balance scale, the court hearing was a circus. At Julia's arraignment, I sat just 2 rows behind her. She walked in looking haggard, orange jumpsuit, hair unwashed, face drawn tight. She wouldn't look at me. But when they played the audio recording of her telling Natalie to let him die, she broke. She started screaming. "That's taken out of context. They set me up. That little bastard me. Planted all this." The judge shut her down and denied bail. She'll be held until trial. Classical building where the case stands now. The DA plans to push for second-degree murder or manslaughter, depending on what the jury believes about intent. All of Dad's assets are back under my control. His original will is being reinstated. The forged will has been declared null and void. My legal team is preparing a civil suit for emotional damages and estate disruption. And Natalie has entered a witness protection agreement. She's terrified Julia might retaliate. Trevor is walking free, for now. But his immunity doesn't cover civil suits, and he'll be hearing from us soon. Older adult, one last surprise. My father's hidden letter to me. The day after the arrest, I got a call from a small law office in Monterey. Apparently, my dad wrote and deposited a sealed letter there a year before his death. It was to be delivered if anyone contested the will. I picked it up today. Here's part of what it said. "If you're reading this, then the worst has happened. And I'm sorry, son. I should have seen this coming. I thought I could protect you by not involving you in my fears, but I see now that was a mistake. If they've tried to take what's yours, fight them. I trust you, and I love you. Always." That letter broke me, then healed something too. He knew, and he still believed in me. Final update. The trial, the verdict, and the aftermath. My family's lies are finally buried. Hey Reddit, this will be my last post. It's been months since I first told you about my father's death, the betrayal, the forged will, and the dark truth behind it all. Now it's over, and the ending was more dramatic, more heartbreaking, and more satisfying than I ever imagined. Let me walk you through the last chapter. Balance scale, the trial, 3 weeks of hell. Julia stood trial for forgery of legal documents, a fraudulent inheritance, tampering with medication, criminal conspiracy, second-degree manslaughter. Trevor testified. So did Natalie, shaking and sobbing through most of it. My father's doctor, the estate lawyer, and even the real notary all testified too. But the killer moment came when the prosecution played the surveillance video of Julia breaking into my father's safe, the one she didn't know I'd bugged. When she opened it and muttered, "Damn it, Miles, what did you find?" the entire courtroom went silent. Then came the video from Trevor's hidden folder, the one showing Julia mixing pills and saying, "He's tired. He'll go peacefully. No more fighting." That moment, it broke her. Julia screamed in court, tried to claim the video was AI generated, and had to be physically removed after she started accusing the judge of conspiring with me. It was over. Hammer the verdict. Guilty on all major charges. The judge didn't hesitate. Julia was sentenced to 28 years in prison, without the possibility of parole for 18. The judge called her a master manipulator, and said her actions were a premeditated erosion of trust, morality, and humanity, carried out under the guise of family. I cried when the sentence was read, not because I was happy, but because it felt like I finally breathed again after months of suffocating. Busts in silhouette what happened to everyone else. Trevor walked free under his plea deal, but he's basically a pariah. No one will hire him. His name is Mud. I filed a civil lawsuit against him, and he settled out of court for a significant sum. He moved to Nevada last I heard, and Natalie has gone no contact with everyone. She started therapy. I don't forgive her, but I also don't hate her. I hope she finds peace. Julia wrote me a letter from prison. I burned it, unopened. House with garden, my father's legacy, restored. I've restored my dad's nonprofit, the Veterans Mental Health Foundation he founded, and named a wing after him, the Allen West Recovery Center. The house? I'm keeping it. But I had everything gutted, new floors, new walls, new memories. I kept one thing untouched. Dad's old study, with the chair where he recorded the voice memos. I sit there sometimes at night, just listening to his words, reminding myself who he really was. Not the man Julia painted him to be. Open mailbox with raised flag, last message to you all. Read it. I don't have the words for what this platform has meant to me. You believed me when no one else did. You gave me advice when I was spiraling. You dug into records, analyzed handwriting, connected dots I missed. You stood by me. You helped me bring justice to the man who raised me right. Thank you for stepping into another tale with me. Every story unlocks a different world, and I'm glad you were here for the journey. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my stories Unchained, where every ending is just the beginning of another adventure. Until next time, keep your mind open and your heart ready for the next story, Unchained.